Recently, the Illuminati, composed of Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, and Namor, sent Hulk to space where, unbeknownst to them, he crashed on the alien world of Sakaar. There, he became emperor and took a queen. Later, his ship exploded and destroyed everyone he cared about. The Hulk blames the Illuminati. When the Illuminati voted to send the Hulk into space, one of their members, Professor Charles Xavier, founder of the X-Men, was not present. But does that absolve him of all guilt? At the New York headquarters of S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony Stark is meeting with Charles Xavier. Tony asks Charles if he has seen any sign of the Hulk recently. Xavier is confused by the question, so Tony elaborates.
Right. You hadn't heard, sorry. He went on a rampage, another one, in Las Vegas. Reed and the others and I decided he was too dangerous to remain at large. So we took a vote. Only Namor dissented. We lured the Hulk into a spaceship, launched it towards a planet where there wasn't anyone he could hurt. For some reason, it never got there. We've been trying to determine where he ended up, but it's been kind of busy around here.
I see.
I'm curious, Charles. If you'd have been here, how would you have voted?
Later on, Xavier is in the Cerebra unit searching desperately for more mutants. He fears their kind may be a dying species. In another room in the Xavier Institute, Hank is training some of the rookies in the art of public combat. Their goal is to cause as little damage as possible whilst beating their opponent. Their training session is cut short by an emergency broadcast. On screen, we see an armored Hulk delivering a message.
You have 24 hours. Evacuate the city. When I return, I want to see Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange.
Moments later, there is a colossal thud outside of the mansion that causes the entire building to rattle and shake. The Hulk has landed. Hank hastily briefs his team of rookies. They definitely aren't ready for a fight like this, but they have no other choice. Hank stresses the seriousness of the situation.
This is not the wounded child Hulk. This is not the barroom brawler Hulk. This is a Hulk fueled by so much rage, he could destroy everything in his path.
Hank goes to the door as Hulk's thumping footsteps can be heard drawing nearer to the entrance. Hank opens the door.
Hello, Brew. Hulk, what?
Xavier, bring him here.
You know I can't do that.
Out of the way. I'll find him myself.
I'm afraid I can't do that either.
Wasn't asking.
Hulk smashes Hank across the room. Hank's students quickly launch into action. The game plan is to hit the Hulk with everything they've got, so that Josh, one of the mutants, can get close enough to lay his death touch on the Hulk. Hank's theory is that Josh's death touch will be enough to give them the upper hand. Hank carries Josh on his back while the others distract the Hulk. The plan is a success, and Josh manages to get close enough to touch the Hulk. This only succeeds in making the big green guy even madder. Josh's death touch only has enough power to temporarily hinder Hulk's healing capability. The other mutant sees the opportunity to attack while Hulk's defenses are down, but Hulk retaliates by breaking down a statue in the quad.
Stupid mutants. Don't need my healing factor to beat these punks.
Hank leaps towards the Hulk with violent intent.
Damn you, Banner, they're kids.
But Hulk smashes Hank through the air once again.
Don't talk to me about kids.
Rockslide faces up against the Hulk. Finally, Hulk has someone his own size to tango with. Hulk grabs Rockslide's arms and dismembers him before throwing his limbs far, far away. Laura extends her claws and makes her move. The Hulk catches her in mid-air as she leaps towards him.
Who are you? Wolverine's sidekick? You're a couple claws short.
Laura extends her feet claws and slashes Hulk's eyes out, blinding him. Hanks instructs his students to take advantage of the situation and strike the Hulk forcefully while he is blinded. Their ascendancy does not last long as the death touch wears off, and Hulk's healing ability is restored. Hulk retaliates fiercely, propelling Laura through a wall. Things are starting to look bad for Hank and his students, but help shows up just in time. The X-Men have arrived, led by none other than Wolverine.
This is the fight I was expecting. Bring it on.
We hear Professor Xavier's voice call out from a distance.
I believe you said you're here for me. Now that I've seen my students to safety, you've got your wish.
Xavier tries to use his powers to get into Hulk's mind, but what he finds inside of Hulk's psyche shocks him to his core.
Impossible. The Hulk's mind has always been unique, difficult to control, but I've never encountered anything like this. The rage, like an elemental force. I can't overcome it, and the feedback is enveloping everyone. Good Lord, what he endured on that planet. Weakened, enslaved. The trials he faced, unimaginable. And yet he found happiness, friends, a kingdom, a wife, a child on the way. So why is he?
We get to see what Xavier sees. We see how Hulk's happiness was stripped away from him in the explosion. Hank speaks up.
Hulk, I had no idea.
You all saw that, huh? Xavier's pals did that to me.
Hulk, Bruce. Reed and the others sent you into space, yes. But the bomb that destroyed your city, I can't imagine them ever doing such a thing. But I don't know. I wasn't with them when they made their plans.
I know, but according to what I beat out of Black Bolt, you were supposed to be. You were one of the guys they decided was smart enough to play God, to decide what to do with me, like I'm a rabid dog. So I'm asking you a question. If you'd been there when they were debating whether to ruin my life, how would you have voted?
The Hulk's vengeful saga continues from where we left off in the second chapter. Hulk presses Xavier once more for an answer. The question remains the same. What would Xavier have done if he was there when the decision was made to ship the Hulk off into space? Xavier provides his response.
The honest answer is this. I wouldn't have agreed to exile you forever, but I would have voted to send you away while we searched for a cure. You're right. I have been guilty of playing God, and there's nothing I can do to make up for it. But perhaps I can atone. I'll surrender willingly.
Hulk accepts Xavier's desperate attempt at diplomacy. He reaches out to grab the professor with his massive green hand, but he's stopped by the hardened metallic hand of Colossus.
One moment, Tavarish. The professor may have agreed to his surrender, but we have not.
The rest of the X-Men's A-team form a wall between the Hulk and their leader. Xavier pleads with them to stop getting in the way of his decision, but they will not budge. This means war. Hulk gives the X-Men a final chance to surrender the professor.
This really how you want it, all of you?
Cyclops responds.
All of us.
The X-Men make their stand against the enraged Hulk. Hulk is more than happy to accept their challenge. He's out for blood, and nothing will stop him. Not even the world's strongest mutants. Cyclops attacks Hulk with his max power laser beam. Hulk flinches at first before snuffing out Cyclops' rays by enclosing his hand around the mutant's head. Cyclops' beam becomes entrapped in the Hulk's mighty paw. Wolverine lands a brutal blow before Hulk throws him into the forest surrounding the mansion, in the same way one would swat a fly. The X-Men gang up on the Hulk in the hope of overpowering him, but Hulk points out the futility of their efforts.
Stupid mutants! You can't stop me! You can't even hurt me!
The ever-logical Hank tries to reason whatever part of Bruce Banner might be listening beneath the green.
We don't want to, Bruce. Please stop fighting before we have to.
Kitty Pryde phases Hulk's fists into the concrete. Hank believes she's done enough to subdue him. While the X-Men discuss what to do with the Hulk next now that they've contained him, Hulk rips his hands out of the earth below him. Another failed attempt by Xavier's best and bravest. Hulk responds with a thunderclap that knocks the X-Men clean off their feet. The junior X-Men watch from a distance as their mentors get battered by the Hulk. The Sophie Stepford Cuckoos send out a distress signal around the world to the various international branches of mutants to join the fight. Colossus lands a sturdy right hook to the Hulk's jaw. Hulk pays Colossus some respect for the blow.
You got guts, Colossus. Was a time you might have made a decent opponent for me, but things have changed. I've changed, and now you're just a pile of scrap.
Hulk bends Colossus' steel arms backwards. If he had flesh, his bones would have snapped and ruptured the skin. Colossus cries out in agony. Finally, Wolverine reappears from the forest, leaping towards Hulk with his claws drawn and suit tattered.
It always comes down to you and me anyway.
Wolverine gets close enough to the Hulk to slash his eyes out, similarly to what Laura did. But Hulk manages to get his hands around Wolverine and keep him at bay. Wolverine tells the Hulk that he can do this all day since he can't be killed. But Hulk tells Wolverine that he has things to do. And even though he knows that he can't kill him, there are other options. Hulk begins to repeatedly smash Wolverine's head in.
So let's see what happens if your brain smashes against the inside of your metal skull again and again and again.
Hulk beats Wolverine to the point that his eyes might pop out of his head. Next up, the Juggernaut comes flying in, full of his typical sense of bravado. Despite landing a good first shot, he's no match for the Hulk, who quickly delivers a combination of violent attacks before finishing with a back-breaking maneuver. A portal opens, and more mutants arrive. But will their strength in numbers make any difference in this battle? Once again, the X-Men throw everything they've got at the Hulk. They attack from every angle, searching for a weakness, but find none. With every genius plan the X-Men conjure up, Hulk delivers a brutal response. Despite the X-Men's various strengths and abilities, the Hulk's brute force, indestructible makeup, and seething rage gains the upper hand each time. Even in their numbers, the X-Men are no match for this version of the Hulk, more powerful than ever before, fueled by the pain of his suffering. One by one, Hulk picks off the X-Men. Many of them are lucky to survive Hulk's attacks. Nightcrawler teleports Hulk just meters outside the mansion's immediate perimeter. Hulk looks up to see the X-Men's stealth jet plummeting towards him in a kamikaze attack. Hulk is engulfed in the explosion from the attack. Nightcrawler manages to escape just in time. They look back at the wreckage, still ablaze. Something is moving in the furnace. The entire wreckage begins to float in the air, and the silhouetted figure of Hulk can be seen amongst the flames. Hulk launches the burning wreck at his enemies, and all they can do is watch as the blazing mass of steel comes hurtling towards them. Hulk walks up to a hole in the mansion wall where the wounded X-Men are being treated.
This is how you wanted it. Happy now?
Wolverine steps between Hulk and the wounded, ready for another round. Hulk wastes no time humoring Logan's snarky remarks and throws him far, far away. Another figure is emerging out of the flames now. The Juggernaut has returned. This time he is armed to the teeth and at full power. The two titans clash in a mighty fistfight that shakes the very earth beneath them. For the first time in this fight, the Hulk appears to be taking significant damage. Juggernaut and Hulk become locked in a stalemate. The pressure of their opposing forces is undermining the foundation of the mansion. Hulk uses Juggernaut's force against him and sends him flying off out of the mansion at an incredible speed and into a pond. Hulk approaches Professor Xavier.
It's over, Xavier. By the time he drags himself out, we'll be gone.
As I told you, I won't resist.
Cecily wraps her body around the Hulk to keep him from capturing her beloved professor.
Stupid mutants. Haven't you figured it out yet? You can't stop me. Nothing can. Nothing will stop me until he suffers as much as I have.
Hulk throws Cecily out of the mansion and into the graveyard. We see the tombstones of all the fallen X-Men. Cecily snarls at the Hulk with tears in her eyes.
You want to talk about suffering? Look around you. Her name was Lori Collins. All she wanted was for people to like her for who she was. She got shot in the head. She was 16. This is Brian Cruz. He loved his powers and being here. He lost it all on M-Day. He lost his life too, along with 41 other kids, because some mutant hater blew them up, like your wife was blown up. Don't tell me we haven't suffered like you, and don't ever tell us not to fight for what we have left. You're trying to do to us exactly what your enemies did to you. Destroy what happiness we've managed to find in a world that hates us. For something the Professor didn't even do.
The Hulk is struck by Cecily's testimony. He ponders silently without reaction. The Hulk slowly turns his back towards Cecily and Xavier and talks over his shoulder.
You consider this your fault, Xavier, and my guess is you should. You're already living in hell.
Hulk leaps off without waiting for a response. Cecily embraces Xavier with tears still streaming down her face. Their ordeal is over. While the mutants may have survived their encounter with this war-mongering Hulk, the humans may not be so lucky. Hulk saw the X-Men's mutual suffering and decided that he would let them pass. But Hulk still has debts to settle, and he knows whose door he'll be knocking on next.